You know how everyone is talking about inflation and how all we have to do is stop spending our money and prices will eventually come down? Well, for most Americans, over 50% are living paycheck to paycheck. And as a result, those people that are living paycheck to paycheck are actually using credit card debt and their retirement savings in order to pay for goods because they believe that prices are going to go up. So they sell their assets, they sell their stocks, they use their credit cards to pay for items now because they're concerned that they're going to go up in the very near future. But look at this. Because of that type of thinking, it's causing everyone else to pay. Look at this right here. It says Americans kept spending last month despite elevated inflation. It doesn't matter that we are seeing higher prices because the American people continue to spend. Look at this. It says core inflation rose by 2.9% in July. It's the highest since February. This is what is concerning, is that we continue to spend money when we just don't have it. Look at this. It says the personal consumption expenditure price index showed that core inflation, which excludes food and energy, it ran at a 2.9% seasonally adjusted annual rate. That was up by 0.1 percentage point from the June level and the highest annual rate since February. Now, yes, it's in line with some forecasts, but it's still higher than what it should be. That's the problem. I want to show you this as well. It says central bankers target inflation at 2%. So Friday's report shows the economy is still a distance from where the Fed feels comfortable. Nevertheless, markets expect the Fed to resume lowering its benchmark interest rate when policymakers convene next month. Fed Governor Christopher Waller reiterated his support for a cut in a speech on Thursday, saying he would entertain a larger move if labor market data continued to weaken. Yeah, we are expecting the labor market is going to weaken simply because companies are not turning a profit. Look at this. Domino's Pizza Enterprises sinks as sales decline worsens. It says right here in the takeaways, Domino's Pizza Enterprises plummeted after the loss-making company slashed its dividend and said sales have fallen even faster in the new financial year. It says the company swung to a loss of $3.7 million in the year ending June 29th from a profit of $96 million a year earlier. So they've swung almost $100 million. Okay? That's a huge difference. Huge difference in 1 year. But you think that's where it stops? No. Look at this. This just happened today. It says retail panics. What the end of the de minimis exemption means for brands across the globe. It says in the key points, the de minimis exemption, which allowed shipments valued under $800 to enter the country duty-free, came to an end globally on Friday. What's crazy about this is there are companies that are actually not going to ship to the United States. They are just not going to ship items to the United States. This means that all those goods that you were getting for $5, $10, $15, and they were much cheaper than going to Amazon or Walmart or Target, well, those items are going to stop. Meaning, and again, here's the problem, if everybody's going to Amazon to buy the shoes for $15 to $20, guess what happens? There's more demand for the same supply, which means prices go up. That's what's going to happen. Same thing with Walmart. When Walmart realizes that their consumers, there's more coming into the store, vying for the same cheaper shirts and the same shoes and the clothing that is actually decently priced, well, they're going to push prices up. That's what we're expecting already. Goes to say right here, the de minimis exemption, it says the provision has been slated to end in July of 2027, but an executive order from President Trump eliminated it much sooner, giving businesses, customs officials, and postal services less time to prepare. Companies big and small have used the exemption to save money on digital fulfillment And the change could lead to higher prices. We're already seeing it. It's not going to lead to higher prices. It led to higher prices. We're already seeing this. Okay, prices have increased. But look at this. Because everyone says, well, it's not a big deal. Prices increase a little bit. That we don't have to worry about that. Because we can afford it. We got credit cards we can put some of this stuff on. Well, here's the issue. Credit card debt reaches $1.21 trillion. It's in line with last year's all-time high. People can't pay off their debt. They cannot pay off their debt anymore. They are struggling to just keep up with their payments. So not only keeping up with their payments, but paying off their debt, this is not going to happen, especially when it says 53% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. That's a huge concern. But again, I'm bringing this to your attention because all the signs are pointing to higher prices. Yes, we may see interest rates come down in September and for the rest of the year. But does that mean things are going to be so much better? No, that's not what it means. It just means that yes, interest rates come down. Guess what? We're continuing to spend. We are still spending money. Okay, prices are still going up. Just because interest rates come down doesn't mean prices drop. Honestly, they go up. Interest rates come down, prices go up. That's what we're expecting. So if you are currently struggling to just keep up with your everyday expenses, just your living costs, now might be a good time to get a second job, start doing something on the side, have a yard sale and sell goods that you just don't use or don't want. If you have a car that you never drive, get rid of it. You have an ATV, an RV, or a side-by-side, get rid of it if you don't use it. You have a set of golf clubs, get rid of them if you do not use them. Okay, that's my advice to you. Okay, make it easier for yourself to live. Have more money in the bank, have less expenses going forward. That's the only way people are going to make it through this, especially as prices continue to climb. So, if you have any questions regarding this, let me know down in the comment section below. But here's my last piece of advice to you, and I want to read this to you. It says right here, okay? Inflation numbers were held in check by a 2.7% annual decline in prices for energy, goods, and services. Food prices rose 1.9% from a year ago. The balance also tilted heavily towards services prices, which jumped 3.6% compared with a 0.5% increase in goods. The reason why I'm reading that to you, what services are you using? Think about this for a second. Are you still using Uber Eats? Are you still using Uber to get around, or DoorDash, or Lyft? Are you going and getting your hair cut from a barber? You using a landscaping company to mow your lawn? A pool company to clean your pool? Maybe you have a contractor that you use. This is what people are doing. We're spending more money on services, less money on goods. But guess what? We're still spending more money. That's the problem. So think about where you're spending your money and determine, is it worth it or should you stop? So I'll leave you with that, but if you have any questions whatsoever, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.